raised in the Lone Star Land, with boots on my feet and dreams in my hand. A little sassy but a whole lot of grace. You'll see that fire when you look in my face. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Barbecue smoke, Friday night lights, cheering for the Astros under Texas skies. A little bit stubborn, a whole lot of charm. This big old heart will keep you warm. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. From the bluebonnet fields to the city streets, every step I take feels like home to me. With a little sass and a lot of pride, this Texas girl's got nothing to hide. I'm a Texas girl with a heart so wide, family and friends always by my side. From the crack of dawn to the stars at night, I keep it real, keep my soul burning bright. Gummy shoe prints lead them down the street. Chocolate wrappers hiding secrets sweet. They don't miss a beat, they've got a knack. With licorice ropes pulling answers back. Twist the wrapper to reveal the truth. A sticky web spun by a candy smooth. No sour lies can escape the grip. These lollipops always crack the whip.
Blonde hair like sunlight on the creek, blue eyes deep as a stormy week. She chased the wind, she chased the sky, a restless heart we never asked why. Summer girl, where did you run? Did you find your place beneath the sun? Summer girl, where are you? We called your name through the evening dew. The fields remember, the stars still shine, but your footprints fade, lost in time. Summer girl, where are you? She lived her life one road at a time, each turn a verse, each mile a rhyme. Her laughter echoed through the hills, a voice like water from a mountain still. Someone knows, but they won't tell, secrets buried where shadows dwell. Summer girl, where are you? We've called your name through the evening dew. The fields remember, the stars still shine, but your footprints fade, lost in time. Summer girl, where are you?
Well, hello, my friends. How is everyone doing today? Thank you all for being here with me. I appreciate it. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you all had a super great weekend. Hello, I'm Too Honest. Hi, Miss Eve. Good to have you with us today. Daisy Dukes. Always good to have you. Hi, Miss Rhonda. Good to have you. And Miss Kathy. Hello. Excuse me. Saved by Grace. How are you? Let's see. We got Grace Paris. Hello to you. Good to have you with us. TJ. Hello. Kelly. Good to have you, Kelly. Cecilia. Hello. Hope you're well. Miss Fran, how are you doing? Good to have you. Hello, Miss Linda. Good to have you with us today. Hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm going through here really fast. Trying to make sure I say hello to everybody. Hi, Brianna's World. Good to have you. Hope you are doing good. Broken Black Skies. Hello there. Good to have you. Welcome. All righty. Good to have you with us. Tap dancer Lizzie in the house. Hello, hello. Lisa King. Good to have you. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here. Appreciate everybody so much for being here. Today, we're going to talk about Summer Wells' Little Girl Lost. I put as the title because I honestly believe this child was lost because of her case, because of a certain neighbor who felt entitled to tell everybody all the things, and yet none of the things seemed to be correct. We're going to go over that today, but little Summer went missing on June 15th of 2021. She has been missing for so long and absolutely no trace of where she went. The dog scent ended at the driveway where the driveway and the road meet. But does that mean anything? We don't know, because we now know after all this time that her and her brothers played around those hills a lot. And oh goodness, he was found in a pond. Oh my goodness, broken black skies. That is horrible. I'm telling you, it's so sad that these precious babies can just disappear, just gone, and yet nothing gets done. And it's so heartbreaking that Summer's case has just gone dormant at this point. And we all spent endless time digging into her case, just as we have been doing with Sebastian Rogers' case. And so sad to say that as of now, they both have the same outcome. Absolutely nothing. Hey, Peggy, welcome. And it's just heartbreaking. These kids deserve better. They deserve so much better than what they've been dealt. No matter where they're at, they're not where they're supposed to be. Whether they're living a great life somewhere, that's wonderful, good, but at the same time, they're not where they're supposed to be. And how did they get there? Someone had to have gotten them there. So, so many times we hear of stories of missing kids, and yet the outcome is not so good. Years and years and years go by, and they're found later to have been unalived at some point or another. And yet, all that time, everybody just sits there and wonders, just like we're doing with these two cases. And it's truly heartbreaking, because I honestly believe with my whole entire heart that with both of these children, Sebastian and Summer Wells, their case could have been solved. Things could have been done. But yet that good old boy system came into play really hard in both cases. And I do believe that their justice is going to come. We just have to stay vigilant and continue to pray every day for these children. So, before we get started, welcome to everybody that's here, those in the bushes just listening, anyone that comes in on replay. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate y'all so, so much. And as always, make sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, join us. We'd love to have you. And next week, we will be doing a members live. So if you'd like to become a member, join us on that. It is always greatly appreciated. So, hello, Patty. Come on in. Come on in. Everybody is welcome. Thank y'all so much for being here. Now, as I said earlier, I honestly believe this little girl came up missing. Yes, Brianna's World. I heard that. You know, her case. Hey, Tam, good to have you. Oh, Patty, glad to have you. You're always welcome to chat. We try to keep it good here. But her case was lost in the very, very, very beginning. Peggy, welcome. Welcome to the Lollipops. So good to have you, Patty. And welcome to the South.
Welcome. Welcome to the South. We break that good stuff out. Got enough to go around. Can I get a fight and get down? Welcome to the South.
Welcome, Peggy. I said Patty instead. I just said hi to Patty. Welcome, welcome to the membership. Thank you so much. So glad to have you. But day one, when this child went missing, I honestly believe there was deception by the parents in their stories. I may not be on the popular side when I say I do not believe her mother had anything to do with her disappearance. I think her mother was away from the property. And that's just something I feel. But I do think to this day that mother knows what actually happened. I do think her father is involved somehow. I honestly, in my heart, believe that when you hear a father say, the police told me that I had sold my daughter for drugs, and I just, I couldn't believe it. And I wonder about that. You don't say that. You either know you've done that, or 100% you did not do it. And I think that was just a cover up, in my opinion. And of course, we have no idea what it's like to live in Rogersville in the Ben Hill area where she went missing from. We have no idea about the neighbors around, nothing about the way they lived their lives or anything. So from the very beginning, all we could do is listen to those who talked to us, who were actually around, who actually lived there. And unfortunately for Summer Wells, a neighbor directly across the street felt entitled to set the narrative on what possibly could have happened to little Summer Wells. And in my opinion, this little girl got lost right away. And hi, Sandy, welcome. And because this neighbor felt it was her duty to speak out and tell her story, it was during this time that her baby daddy of many years decided to leave her, and her vengeance for him got muddled into Summer Wells and her case. I don't know how bad of a person you have to be to mess up a missing child's case the way this person did, but it's just my opinion that you have to be a vile, disgusting, unhappy individual to merge those two into one whole story. It was just horrible. And as the days went on, it just continued and continued and continued. I agree, I'm too honest. I honestly believe she knows more, and she has tried her best to set a narrative to cover the tracks for others. And a lot of people that have followed me with the Sebastian case are unfamiliar with Summer Wells or just learning a little bit about it. And so I'm just trying to explain the best I can without sounding so horribly angry about this neighbor. But she created a timeline, and the timeline was not correct. And the mother told her that she changed her timeline, that the timeline didn't match hers. And then the neighbor got upset with the mother. That's how I believe Summer Wells got lost in her own case. Yeah, me too, Miss Peggy. Right before Summer Wells. Matter of fact, it was the Gabby Petito case that got me pulled in. And I followed that diligently and started finding out about little Summer. And it was just shortly after she had gone missing that I heard about it. And Summer Wells is the reason I started my channel. I had things I wanted to say. And all we can do is try to bring out awareness to her case. And just like in Sebastian's case, those of you who have followed Sebastian's case, just like with his case, Summer Wells' case also had the divided sides, the sides who felt they had all the facts and their facts were the correct facts. And they take things that are said and done and create them into a fact that goes with their narrative. A lot of it had to do with the fact that they didn't like some, and so their facts were twisted around into becoming a fact to support those who they believed in. When at the end of the day, both cases should have only began with, this child is missing, this story doesn't make sense, someone needs to find the truth. It does, Miss Peggy. So much of Summer's case is mirroring, or Sebastian's case is mirroring Summer's case. And it's absolutely sad that it's had to happen like that. It's gross. Whether you believe something or not is just an opinion of yours. You don't make facts twist and turn around to fit your fact and your opinion and your narrative. That's just so wrong. But that's happening every day with both cases. And so today we're going to watch a video that was put out by Nature Lover. I absolutely love the work that she has done in the Summer Wells case, because she takes clips, puts them together, and shows the facts that they are. The words that are actually said, the things that are actually happening. And so today we're going to watch her. Let me change my banner. We're going to do this under the Fair Use Act so that everything is above board, of course. We want to make sure that we do everything correctly. And we're going to have some very low music playing. If one of my mods could drop Nature Lover, her channel, it is in the description of this video, so you can get the link there as well. And I'll be stopping, we'll be talking through it, and I'll help to explain some things as we go through so that anyone that's new can get caught up. All right, guys, here we go.
Real nature lovers. Yeah, exactly. Real nature lovers. And I'd like you to keep that in mind too when you think about fucking old Dr. fucking Doolittle over there.
Yes, Miss Fran is correct when she says, Lolly, don't forget the sheriff taking care of his son put Summer on the side. 100%. The sheriff was too busy protecting his own son, who has become a registered sex offender and was actually given 20-year sentence for the two girls that he did things to. One being his adopted daughter. But that 20-year sentence was reduced down to 19 years served. 1 year with an ankle monitor. I guess it helps in that county to have family in high places. And that put a dark shadow over the sheriff, and so therefore Summers' case became one put on the back burner. But let's watch this here.
June 15th and 6th. Since that call came in here, Mom, you remember? Yeah, but you weren't paying attention. And, you know,
Now, guys, for those who do not know, this is the neighbor, Jody Sue Brown, who lived across the street from Summer. She lives on the hill right across the road from Summer Wells. And it's very hard to understand her at times. There's captions on the top and the bottom going. I'm going to take our captions off because I forget. Nature Lover does so good in helping you to understand exactly what she says. And I think she speaks this way more on purpose than anything.
oh, not how far, wide, dark, and deep this is. I just told the world that you're whatever responsible.
Hi, Crime Time Connie. Welcome.
No matter what, I stood for right and truth. As false calls have come in, knocks with the threads, you know, that went back to, and all week long as a series of events played out. Traceable ones, visible ones, timelines given again, hints. Pretty damn obvious to anybody, but as people have changed dates to all edit to a month ago. But yet,
As you can tell, she loves to talk in riddles. It's absolutely aggravating that this woman will not just come out and say the things that should be said, the truth. She has to talk in riddles to confuse everybody, but yet to get her message out to those who know what she's talking about. It's absolutely gross.
very requestable things like the real truth remain. Very requestable things. Hidden materials are before them. I hate moments like this. The scales. And see, if you're me, you know that all that exists, but you also know that there are real things on the real ground that really matter. Trying to unwind certain shit, you know, there are certain starting points, let's say other ending points, and that could matter. And that need to be done in ways where harms the least. It doesn't give these motherfuckers content. Doesn't bring death, doom, destruction. It helps the unwinding process. Or key dropping process, or anything really. And it's fucking torturous. There are things I've been planning on trying to put out lately. It's been a hell of a lot of distraction and bullshit. And I think because certain people know which way winds are maybe blowing, trees are truly shaking. All the way back to origin points. Which predates far, far before summer released. somehow, some way though, quite a bit of it, certain dates leading and starting all these changes off for all, not too awful long before summer ends. These changes include most of the ones you're seeing cleansed, protected by, and leashes held by these tragedy pimps. Namely the teams, like Chasing, Jenny, Adrian, Ryan, the rest. Ziggy most recently. Handlers of cleansers, teams. Certain shit in the wind lately. Something Monster said the other day made my jaw drop. And for the first time ever, I really side eye on that shit, bro. Combine that with the fact that recently you had a version of Flip Flop by Hunter after this group and those, like, were visiting the hospital and others that wind right back up around Chasing and this crew. Suddenly everybody is, wildly enough. But I knew the other day what I heard was not real for months, not in least.
Can y'all make out anything she's trying to say? Basically, she's trying to shove a group of people up under the bus because Monster is her ex, and those people she's mentioning support her ex. But this is about Summer Wells, remember? Exactly, Sandy Mushmouth, 100%. It's absolutely disgusting. But these are the type of videos that we've had to sit through because this is a person that was across the hill, straight across the hill at the very moment Summer Wells went missing. And this is why I say Summer got lost in her own case, thanks to this creator right here. She muddles things with Summer's case into talking about and putting down and attacking people all over her ex. It's gross.
And it rang up them alarm bells for me, and I can't tell if it's terrified or bought and paid for. I know it was terrified. At the same time, all the changes began. For all the extreme shifts, I knew it was already terrified. Because it messaged me immediately. Scared. To help it. The Galway is right. But in those time periods of change, there's also drastic changes for Fred, 110. Stall comes full tale of all kinds of weird shit's going on. Manipulations, monsters, deliveries, shit shaking, things that tie right back into the fucking, all of them, each and every goddamn. Monster gets more and more afraid, possibly. Visits increase, right up until Fox kept knowing it was caught too with Stall dead to rights. That bitch is crazy, it's fucked anyway. Then Sarmash is super fucked. Suddenly this whole new, no man, no. And then H doing it too recently, and everybody on board, huh now?
I forgot to tell everybody, pardon the language, but she is quite explicitive. So trigger warning when it comes to the language. Oh yeah, Miss Peggy, I believe that whole area was involved with the substance problems. And Brianna's World, you are 100% correct. She could have helped Summer if she actually cared, but she didn't. Yes. Andy was selling. Fred was selling. Yes. Lots of, the road that went beside their home, the Beach Creek Road, the sheriff tells us that area has no drug problem whatsoever, but yet at the same time, Beach Creek was known as the Oxy Highway. And nobody came through there at dark because it was such a scary place. It was well known that you don't pull up into a driveway accidentally. That seems to be a problem to me. So I don't know why the sheriff felt the need to let the world know there's not a substance problem in that area. It's gross.
I'm almost complete with the full cleansing cycle. The pro whatever team. What's in the background? Fear, money, needful things. I know terror. For one, I know it's been so stupid because it got to see past my on that on. I haven't got them gas fire instead of a brain or water. Near it has not helped. Got it wound up too far. Greed got it wound up too far. Lying to courts, lying to services, targeting us, gleefully so, jerking off on it, the abuse, the pay, the blaze, everything. It's too late to turn back. But is it just that? Afraid of that? Consequences of? Or is it combined with the terror it was already seeing and fear and increases in? And does it realize? Is it playing on purpose? Is it playing then as? I think so. I don't want to think so. The increased violence towards us, namely me. It's where the long stabbings and everything else started. The weapons questions. There's other things are making. Cancer treatments leveled it out a bit for just a little.
I'm going to pause here for a minute because she said making cancer treatments. She was going through a time where she had cancer at the time Summer Wells come up missing. She was having treatments done, but surprisingly on the day they searched hers and Andy's old property that they used to live on, they were going to do a search there that day. She did not go to her treatment due to the fact she had to be there while they searched that property. If that's not a red flag, I do not know what would be a red flag. What was on that property that she was worried they would find?
Give a break a bit. Anyways, Monday really. I don't know. The extremes there, it's just. But it knew a train was coming. It knew. I often wondered if that's why they increased everything. If it wasn't supposed to take my life, if it was a trade. But then other things happened. I know all things make you wonder certain things. You know, I started a journey long, long ago. Not one I wanted to take. In the least. Never would have if it weren't for love and protecting those I loved and knew and begged me to protect them. To use my big, beautiful fucking brain to protect them. Like I've been trained to do. Talk to them because I knew my heart always would. I knew then it'd always be a trade. And did it anyway.
I have always wondered about that statement she made right there about protecting those her heart loved and always would. And in the trade, she did it anyways. She protected him because her heart wanted her to, is what I take from that. And I think I always will have that feeling. Jody Sue protected someone. Who was that someone? Hey, Town Chat. Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. We love you.
Even through all that time, I walked through hell while I walked through none. While I loved fiercely those that hurt me most, I protected those who deserved it least. Stood in front of those, held the line for, held lines for. Though even those deserved it least. Out of love, to do it right. I kept those in the darkness out of the light, from fires that burned, from places where, shit, I don't know, types like Good Hair Becky's, rain spraying and shit, you know? Little sparks where things can possibly burn on purpose in certain rooms, areas, especially now. Looking at correlations strikes me as odd. In the way back, where the same people are present as are now. I think some sparks burned on purpose. Didn't care then, I don't care now. I hold no fear. Not of man, God, and beast. But I wish I knew which way to go with this. Unfortunately, I do not. And it's because of tragedy, pimp involvement, tampering with everything, including monster.
Of course, the tragedy pimps are YouTubers covering Summer's case. Her word for anyone who covered Summer's case, who called her out for the words she actually said. It's gross. Gross. Absolutely gross. And for anyone new to Summer's case, if you listen to this, you would skip over it and just go on and find another case, because this is muddled crap that's being spewed. Hello to everybody that's coming in. Thank you for joining us. Let's listen to some more.
I wish there were a way to speak and be heard. Messages in the bottles. Returns. Signs. You can't even really rely on those because of tragedy pimp and cleansers and stampers and volunteers. And because of people hiding at the very least, at least shit involvement with one another. Which fucks up everything in the totality of the picture and puzzle. It needs to be there in order to separate it all so that Summer is found and answers justice. So that maybe Ellie doesn't even have such a hard time of it. Sometimes it's worth taking the risk. maybe sometimes people will stop playing the long-known game of forget, don't know, don't remember, don't look. Because none of that's the truth. It never is. It's what it is. I know. They know.
I know they don't. The problem is no one knows what she knows. She will not say what she really knows. She does this because she's protecting someone or someone's. I have my opinion, but I'll hold on to it. I'm too honest. Yes, yes, yes. But it's because of her words that make me think that. It's because of her words that you can't help but wonder who was involved with Summer going missing. It makes you question it 100%.
You know, problem is can't believe shit from motherfuckers, especially more after gas on fire and so much hidden shit and twisted shit. Crap that out to other supplies and everybody else around it needs to believe. And man, and these tragically good friends and cleansers and all things, courts and LE and judges and all this shit, man, it's not going to go backwards.
She has taken several people to court. At one time, she went into court with a black trash bag full of her evidence. It's absolutely gross. The truth needs to be told about what happened to Summer Wells that day. I honestly believe this woman has knowledge. If not just some, all of it. But yet, we get more and more and more of this. I know, right, Grace? I don't understand taking people to court like this. It's just disgusting. Grow up already. Oh, it's crazy.
It's fucked up everything. For the stupidest fucking reason. A whole person fucking strange. Fuck right down that too far, man. Yeah, possibly out of fear though, and that's why the risk is worth taking. Oh. Have one. So sometimes putting it out in a bottle. This is where it begins. This is where it begins.
This is her showing text messages that she loves to do. And as you can honestly see, Nature Lover put in what we can't actually read. She shows it, she takes it off the screen, and you're left going, what did I just see? Hey, Panda Crew. But yes, thanks to Nature Lover, she does such an amazing job with these that we actually get to see what it is. Don't know. He wants to talk, though.
Something begins. Monster. Something begins. Something begins here.
If something begins with that text, it said got a problem. She responds with what or who. Says, I don't know. He wants to talk, though. And supposedly those text messages were the day Summer come up missing. Yes, Kelly, she is so hard to understand. And it's just basically a jumble of words and riddles. It's just so uncalled for. If she knows something, she should speak. And when little Summer is ever found, I hope she is held accountable for what she has done to this case. Hey, Lori and Geneva Rose.
I mean, not the true origin point, obviously, but something here. Something begins here. And I wish certain people hadn't gotten mixed up with certain teams and wound up so tight they can't get out.
Certain people got mixed up in certain teams so tight that they can't get out. Who? You just want to scream. Who are you talking about? What was the mixed up part? What did they get mixed up in? So tight that they could not get out of. I honestly believe her talking is almost a threat to her ex because she knows something.
Because what they'd all done together throughout the Summers case, turning back down, what they have to hold over it. Which certain people never played with, tried to warn. It'd be much easier to figure out whether it's and what is. And I don't know, promises in the background. I'll tell you it ain't worth it. You think they won't do you same way they've done everyone else? You'd hope. Do with them, you and Little Helper. I think that's not what they've been gearing it for lately.
You and your Little Helper. Those are big words to me. Who is you and who is his helper?
The lady you discredit eventually when you're news. Sadly mistaken. She'll put your ass where for entertainment and content. Say you cold ass the fuck up. Abuse you, try to do it to others. You're respected. Question is what when you got these motherfuckers like, oh, I don't know, GTs and the universe, all the other motherfuckers around here. Bravos, London, everybody else, 423s, all these shits playing in everything, man. Connect right back to the thing that this is. Do you know? you have to know, right? You have to know. Or you just that checked out. As your little helper plays with them. And everybody got you wound up too far, including your little helper. Messaging for you to everybody and targeting your kid first. And with this group and playing funsies, and your only entrance into certain messages is, so I'm being punished because Jenny and Adrian are lying and Penny and Lips and everybody got it all wrong, but it's fine. We'll target McKinney, we will lie, and we'll lie on the else to do this. Whoops, and then we'll go lie to courts. And you gotta keep all your own safe for once, including yourself. Someone all the oopsies and fell into because gas to fire. It got you all fucked around and found out. Because it ain't got a fucking clue of the truth because you never dated that. Is that why I felt comfortable enough on your YouTube and through your accounts trying to get me murdered?
Bye, Town Chat. Love you.
Cleansers like chasing Adrian, Jenny, Ziggy, the rest. But it was made to erase at least a couple of those outright things.
Those words, but it was made to erase at least a couple of those outright things. Honestly believe this woman's trying to erase things that actually happened. She's trying to get rid of proof that they actually had showing what happened. She's trying to cover up and protect people that her heart loves. I mean, what else can we get out of this? She's mad because her ex isn't with her, and she's going to do everything possible to send threats in a riddled type of way.
It's a whole thing to do, monster. Especially when you knew this. And that it all continued until just days before an increased pickup and shit. Several times a week, as I recall. Fearful shit. Right up until just the days before Sunday. Where's the truth? Where are the keys? No matter which way it swings, something begins shaking here. And lanes right up against the days right before summer vanished. Not to say in the least that monsters responsibly.
Alrighty, I am going to get us another one that we're going to listen to, and if I can stop that, it's some more of Jody Sue Brown, The Neighbor. And in this one, we see a whole different person. This was, I don't know, probably close to a year after Summer went missing. And you'll see a whole different side of Summer Wells. What? Lolly, I need to oh, I'm telling you, this one here, she's a doozy. Okay, once again, Nature Lover does an amazing job with all that she does. Day before and day after.
Several weeks prior to Summer vanishing. On this particular property we were on for years.
Yes, Brianna's World says, Jesby said Andy sold substance to Candace for the children, but yet she knew about it. If not, how would she know? If she knew about it, she speaks about it. She tells us all about it. But yet she never called and reported it. All right. That's it. I'm too honest. She needs to just stop. But she continues to this day. Lord help us. And it's not much better.
Not long before Summer went missing, we found out just days before the sale that it was for sale. A piece of it, not that actual property. But there was no signs that went up. There was no anything to let us know that it had been placed for sale or on any realty sites. Even though we were told later on that it had been, and that wasn't true. And we kind of know why. It was to keep trouble down, because, the area, if you know it, you know it. And that particular road is notorious for certain things. And that road is named for a family member of my children's father. Children's father's family. So it's named, Anyway, and so we knew there hadn't been signs because a lot of his family lives on it further in than we did. So if you are, I'm getting a little lost here. Sorry, a little scattered. Everything for me is kind of a spider web. So if you are looking at Candace's property, our driveways are across the road from each other. And a little corner, like hers is here and ours is here, but we can see each other. And ours is worse than Candace has ever thought about, steeper and longer. That
everything about her has to be a little more than somebody else. Even her driveway.
being said, the news pictures, they're a little deceiving in a way, because you can't really the perspective's not, living there is different. We are not as remote from one another as it makes it look, but yet we kind of are, and it's not going to make sense unless you live in the community, And I mean, I have videos, pictures that could show you, but anyway, contrary to popular belief, Candace and I, at least, we can hear and see one another from the top of our hill, even inside the house and inside of a cabin that was there. I could hear them, even in normal tones, on their hill. And when you come into the road, our properties in particular.
Lori, with you not knowing nothing about this case, exclude her when you learn. It is absolutely heartbreaking, but I'm showing the reason why Summer got lost in her own case, because this was her neighbor that was home at the time little Summer went missing, and she has done nothing but muddle up the whole entire case. And now, of course, with Summer's name in the title of her video, she's going to tell us about the land and all the things. It's just to show how in the beginning Summer got lost in her own case, and it's due to stuff like this.
That property and Candace's property are like, I don't know, almost like guards to the rest of the road route. They're taller, they're higher. Everybody else is built kind of low and in the valley. So our property, Y'all, I'm stuck with it for right now. I'm sure people will take exception. Either way, it might happen with the hour, whatever, and the swap off and on with that. It's only been days. For us that we were there, so it's hard. Anyway, we can hear one another. We can hear the children playing in the fall or when foliage. I mean, even when foliage is up, I can see some of hers. She can see some of mine. Winter, fall, we can see each other perfectly. Like, but other neighbors can't really see us. I can see down to others that I'm going to leave nameless, things like that. And I can hear them as well. The property, and like I said, it's hard for me because I don't speak in present, but it's like I said, it's been.
Oh, Brianna, don't remind me. Don't remind me. Yes, I am not forgetting. As a matter of fact, I woke up today with that arm aching really bad because we're supposed to have some storms come through. But yes, I was day 2. We got there one day. The next day, we went to take my niece to her camp that she was going to, and went and drove up a mountain and stopped for a little break. And I was climbing down to the river, and yeah, my leg went numb. About the time I took a step, I went down, my arm hit a tree and busted my arm from my elbow to my shoulder. The very next day was my trip to Ben Hill in the Beach Creek area. I was so close. So close. Let's see. Miss Ann says, not to change the subject, but let everybody know, for the first time since my son passed away, my husband's sister brought us up a few things that we could not buy. Way to go, Miss Ann. That is so encouraging. That had to feel good. Yeah, Lori, Summer went missing on June 15th of 2021. And no, I was going, Grace. I was going to the very next day. But the very next day, I was on a flight home so I could get to the orthopedic surgeon. We had drove up there, had a great drive. It was beautiful. And I had a whole week and a half we were going to be there. And they wanted to rest the very next day and just hang out there at the hotel. So I was going to take their Tahoe, and my cousin and I were going to drive to Ben Hill, Beach Creek area. I was looking so forward to it. And yeah, I was in a small airplane leaving from Knoxville, headed back to Texas so I could go to an orthopedic surgeon. But I'm going to go one day, I swear. Yes, Grace and Miss Kathy, y'all can take me, I promise. One day I'm going to make it there. I know, right? It wasn't meant for me to go at that day. That's exactly 100% sure. Oh, but yeah, Lori, little Summer went missing, just like Sebastian. There is a dog trail. They caught her scent down that dog trail, and it stopped at the driveway where the road meets there. No sightings of her. Nobody saw anything, nothing. She just disappeared. Oh, Miss Ann, go you. I tell you, Miss Ann, you're going to have better days. They will happen, I promise. Let's finish listening and see if y'all can make anything out of what she's trying to explain as far as where she lives and where the wells right across the road from her lives. It's not as hard as she's making it out, I promise.
It's been a whirlwind lately. So, the property we were on until a few days ago, it picks up sound a little differently than just about everybody else in there. The way the hollow is shaped, the way the property is shaped. I can hear most of the hollow, and I can also hear the main road all the way out to a giant farm that's kind of near another point of interest. And the sounds are like it's right in your face in the yard at the top of the hill. Depends on. And anyway, so back to the property sale. We found out that it was the little piece, that JD and the whole thing there with the Ben Hill happened, the day before, that particular piece, is at the very end in a ridge line, sort of it kind of goes between Candace's and the 125, sort of. It's attached to the 125. But when we found it for sale, what had happened was people...
She is talking about a tiny piece of property that is directly beside her property. It is just a ridge line. It is not very much of a property, but it was sold online and a man bought it. He showed up the day before Summer went missing. And he started cutting down trees. They had an altercation because of property lines. He was told this is his property line. She and her baby daddy at the time made adjustments to their property line so that they had the right of way for part of their driveway that went on his property, and so on and so on and so on. And this is her putting a red flag over this man's head, where actually so much went down in one day over that little piece of property that he literally has the deed to. They ran him off.
Started coming up and asking if the house and the main property and this and they were like, and arguing. And at first we thought it was like thieves during the day and people doing like the metal stuff and who knew what, right? Didn't take it seriously. They would ask, is this one for sale? We're like, no. And so then had people arguing with us. It wasn't but a couple days before the actual sale happened. And then there was strange people sitting at the very bottom and at the bottom of the driveway for this property. Across the road, there's a spot, like a parking spot. And it's a great place to watch this property we were on, and straight up our driveway plus Candace's, and just sit there. But I could see it from. So anyway, I took exception to that. There was all kinds of people sitting there for like an hour or two, and as most of you know online, there was a DCS situation next door. And so,
I agree, Miss Kathy.
It was so strange that I think at that point I had messaged over and I was like, look, there are cars sitting there for hours, because I didn't know what they were doing. And I don't know, always on this hyper alert, vigilant status, right? PTSD like crazy. So for the most part, the house remained quiet, at least in my area of it, the cabin, because at the time I was going through cancer treatments and the radiation had to be separated, so anyway, and the cabin was a different angle than the house and other parts, so noises were different, things were different for me. Anyway, very particular and all about not being bothered. So any little noise would bring me out, even on a regular day. But it was making me like, And so I messaged next door and I was like, are these like people for you? What's happening? They were like, no. And I was like, well, I don't know what this is, but this has got to stop. So I put tires in the way down there so people couldn't park there anymore, not long before, and during the period that we thought it was for, like when we were finding out, but didn't know yet that it was for sale. So anyway, somebody happened to come by and have it pulled up on their phone, like a Remax or one of those. And we were like, what? And so we called the realty place. And we're like, And they had it wrongly listed as the actual address here, that, on Ben Hill, not the piece and parcel that was for sale that's attached to it. So we called the realty office. We're like, what is happening? People are up here. You've got it wrongly listed all across the internet as. Hold on. And also looking at the Remax and, there were so many, especially out of state advertisements, because they're.
Okay, Brianna's World. I agree with you. That was very strange. Now, the man that bought this little tiny piece of property that she is trying to muddle her way through to explain to us, his name was Jackie Dobbs. He left that property that day and eventually made his way back home. I believe he lived, I want to say in Georgia, but I may be wrong on that one. But it was very weird because his Facebook page, once he got back home, he had shaved his beard and all of his hair off, which was very strange because he had this long, scraggly beard and, his hair, but he shaved all of it. It did make it very. But I do believe he had nothing to do with Summer. He was used as a scapegoat, and it didn't play off well. Yes, always late. Yes, she was very vigilant because they were rug dealers. Yes, she was very, very alert with everything. So, yes. I'm going to play through this a little bit. Georgia. Okay, good deal. That's what I thought it was. But here we go. I might speed through this a little bit because this is mundane.
Getting the money out of those in Hawkins. Some of the most misleading. And what they had done was, I think there was like a series of, on some sites it was like 34, others had 44 pictures. They had absolutely trespassed and come all the way up to like where the house, cabin, things like that were definitely not on the piece that was, up for sale or could.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead quite
an
a bit.
Average weeks and days. Perfect. Here. However, during this period, I was pretty alert because, like I said, PTSD, hypervigilance, had it all, still do. However, not to the same degree. I realized now that those were things that were extremely magnified for me, and I thought for other reasons until our escape not long ago.
She blames her PTSD on her ex. It's all just craziness. And she had just recently, days before, moved off that property. She was made to move off of that property. That property did not belong to her, and she was bitter. I know, right? She was all dolled up, wasn't she? And I'm sure you can guess by her makeup what she did as a profession, at the local strip joint.
So, anyway, so every noise, everything was kind of bringing me out, to look at, to make sure of, vehicles, cars, checking on things, survey lines, for weeks, waiting on JD, who I didn't know at the time because obviously had no name, no way of getting, know anything until the transfer happened or until somebody showed up. So, like I said, there was still lots of traffic coming and going, people hoping it hadn't closed or that it wouldn't, or there would be pullouts or, that sort of thing. My PTSD and hypervigilance had been pushed into overdrive. And so I was paying more attention to the traffic and things. And honestly, before we get to JD, I think there's something. I mean, because I've seen it mentioned in the groups before, but it doesn't seem to be widespread, and I don't know, or like, I'm not sure why it's not mentioned more. But for several weeks leading up to, right, I mean, and even after summer had vanished, there were 2 crews working on a road, tree and mow crew and that sort of thing. But for a couple of weeks, they had kind of solely been on Candace and Donnie's property, like just grinding it down, like I have never, ever seen before in my life. Like trees, tree stands, buildings, fences, fence posts, I mean, down to the nub. It was pretty wild. And I didn't realize how bad it was until the day we were searching for Summer. And how, I mean, it was, I'd never seen anything ground down like that. So it was like, what? And, you know, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. But they had spent quite a while just working on Candace and Donnie's. And being over there on that piece.
Now, just the day before and the day of, the tree trimming crews had been out there. They were trimming all the trees away from the power lines, freeing up the power lines so there was no issues and no problems. And we know that Ziggy had talked to one of the guys, and we heard him say the day that Summer went missing, that morning, they actually were up there on 110 where Summer went missing from, on her property, and saw her mother and her grandmother get into the car to leave that morning. So this is where she's going to, she will allude to the fact that possibly the tree trimmers could have something to do with it. It's just all craziness.
Like, yeah. And so they were in there for several weeks leading up to Summer's disappearance. And it wasn't just like a couple guys. This was dozens and dozens and dozens. It was personal vehicles, it was work equipment, it was chainsaws all day. They would cut out and the noise would stop around 3 p.m. every day. But it had all of our dogs kind of worn out, and just overwhelmed between the traffic for the property sale and strange people, and, you know, then all this massive amount of heavy equipment noise. It had just, everybody's dogs were tired of it. However, Candace's puppies and dogs are partially part of, I don't know, my dog is partly their dad. But these dogs do bark, like we've all said. I mean, they know us. They see us. I could go to the laundry room, and they would be like, la, la, la.
I agree.
They could hear me come out of the cabin just a couple of feet and light up. Like, and they know us, but they still, I mean, they.
Yes, always late. Look over there, not here. Exactly what she's getting at. It's absolutely insane.
Look, they have a problem with the bark. And then there's one, had a particular name for it because, Lord, his particular bark. But anyway, you know, and we were around these dogs, and they would still light up. You know, they knew our noises, and it was still a constant. And they were less wore out than our dogs, so they were still barking. They were still kind of themselves. Either way, so for several weeks, these crews were in there. There were things I found, you know, a little odd. I mean, I've worked construction, I've worked all kinds of jobs, and as a female, you kind of know how just life is, right? No biggie. We, you know how it is. We all kind of just. But there were several points where I was asked to stop and talk to these guys on ways to appointments and things, and let them know that if they had to cut timber when they got to this piece, that it was to be left laying, not to be cut, not to be taken, because there was already issues at that point with that stuff happening, and people were taking exception, especially to the price of lumber. And so I had some things happen there where, like, So,
skipping through. So,
that was happening for several weeks, like I said, on mostly and solely just Candace and Donnie's property. I mean, we were all like, man, it is taking forever over there. But they literally did some of the clear cut over there and straight to the main road is one of the most, I don't know, things I've ever seen. So, then comes, and at this point, the foliage, I want you to keep in mind, is not as thick as what everybody saw on TV yet, and it really wasn't like that until just a day or two, even before summer vanished. It wasn't, I mean, I could still walk through the woods and see, and I could come out on the bank and visualize and see all the lines. I could still see Candace's house. And as the days after JD shows up and then summer vanishes and the searches and it's starting, it had a couple rains there and everything right before all that. So it just, it immediately looked like it had been like that. And so noise carried differently. Things changed. It did make the searches harder. It was out of control within days of summer vanishing. So it went from being able to step between trees and stuff just fine and being able to visually lay eyes on something to no longer having a line of sight because of how much the growth had exploded within just a very short time frame. So I'll get to Jake.
So I'm just trying to show y'all how this little girl got lost in her own case because of this person I blame. And it's the most insane. She's trying to tell us things that happened day before leading up to the day of Summer going missing. And this is what we have to listen to.
Saw noises, but our dogs weren't barking. And like I said, ours were worn out. However, Candace and them still did, bark and things. But paid no never mind to it,
Her dogs were wore out from barking, but Candace's dogs were fine. They were still barking. Why that's important to know, no clue.
We get in Voldemort's truck, start down the hill, and my
Voldemort is Andy, aka Monster. Okay, she had all kinds of names for him, but she would not say his name. Lord, I'm telling you, this is how this little girl got lost in her own case.
The car sat at the bottom of the driveway for the most part. Anyway, mind you, before JD had ever shown up, when the property lines were run, the survey lines, that type of thing, and markers put on the iron property stakes. That way, whoever bought it could get the visual idea, right? There had also been posted signs, no trespassing, that sort of thing. That way, they'd have a visual idea where they needed to walk, where they needed to. You obviously hear my small herd of elephants here. It's a little loud where we're temporarily staying. Yeah, but
at one point near 6, and I believe on the front 609, I'm going on the top curve right to start the descent down. By this point, I'm
Okay, this is where she starts talking about the time that Summer goes missing. All of that to get to this.
hearing.
At this point, Jody Sue cuts off the video, but what she's about to say is that she hears them yelling for Summer.
So somewhere between 609, I'd have to check just to make sure, but I'm pretty sure. I'm starting the top. and a descent down our driveway. And before I lose Wi-Fi signal, I message Voldemort and tell him I'm heading down early so I can mess around with the flowers, and I'll just, mess around with those till he gets there. Even though I knew at that point it'd be like almost half an hour. And so,
Daisy, this is the neighbor that lives directly across the hill from where Summer lived. And so everybody honed in on her because she was very vocal and out and talking and telling things. And we were trying our best to learn anything and everything we could. And we got so messed up into trying to decipher what she's saying. It's just gross the way she took and turned Summer's case into the most muddled mess you've ever seen. And it just got worse. But this is where she's talking about that day that Summer, that very moment that she learned Summer was missing.
At that point, I'm hearing Candace calling for Summer. Before I'm all the way down, I know that there's been more than 3 calls. After 3 calls, my gut said no. I'd gotten down, looked into the tunnel, didn't see Summer. But I went across back over to the left, which is Candace's property, where the other side of the tunnel is. And that's if you're going out the road, not in. So, cross over, and I started to a spot that's kind of clear, and head towards the creek. Because I think, well, maybe brothers have left her behind, or she's fallen off the top of the hill, she's gotten hurt, or, the usual things, right? And we need to find her, if that's the case. Because in my head, I'm like, well, it's been a while since I heard this scream, this noise. If she's hurt, she's been here a while.
She stated to the police that day she heard a scream. Her children said they heard it. Her son said it sounded almost animalistic sound. Jody described it as she saw the scream, like it was in colors, and it was, she even turned the scream into a whole crap show. However, the sheriff discredited her version of the scream. He said it had nothing to do with Summer's case. Very crazy. Hello, Cinderella. Good to have you. But listen to what she says when she goes across the road from her house, her driveway, over across to the creek. And let's listen.
So, I'm wearing sandals, and I know the best thing I can do is get into the water. So I step into the creek. Because from there I can keep tracks down. Because when you live in areas like there's, worst case scenario, you also know what happens if somebody can't be found. And you know that staying in the water keeps scent down for dogs.
Standing in the water keeps scent down for dogs. Since the day she said that, we have learned that is nothing but a crock of bull. Dogs are trained to smell underwater as well. She takes her shoes off and gets into the water to keep the scent down, to keep from making tracks. None of it makes any sense. And especially if you see that area, and the area she's talking about where she goes directly across the road to where the creek is, there is such a huge drop off. She wouldn't have been able to get down into that creek at that point. So since the day she said these words, we have learned that every bit of this is just mumbo jumbo. It is just her straight up lying, creating a narrative to steer the case in her direction that she wants, away from what we have yet to figure out.
Now, just so that we're super clear, at this point, Jody Sue had not spoken with Candace, and she had no knowledge that Summer was missing. So why in the world would she have thought to step into the creek and then go so far as to bring up that it would keep dogs scent off? That's not normal thinking when you hear your neighbors yelling for their kid. That is not normal, Jody Sue.
Now, this is where the creek begins on this drive here. However, this is on the right side of the Wells driveway. Jody Sue lived on the left side of the Wells driveway. And you'll see here in just a minute what we're talking about. And Brianna said, remember, she thought she was so important and she was trying to control the narrative in Summer's case. 100%. And it is so sad because her narrative was steered to avoid the truth. In my opinion, of course.
So this is the creek that Jody Sue walked through to keep dog scent off, apparently. And as you can see, it's just down from the Wells home. And Jody Sue's home is coming up and will be the driveway to the...
This is the driveway that goes to the Wells house right here. And on the other side of this will be the creek that runs behind the property and around. And the drop off is so much that you at times can't even see the creek. There is a creek that runs right down below that embankment right there. And this is about the place where, according to Jody Sue, she got in the creek. Doesn't make any sense where she could have walked on the other side of the driveway and walked the creek that way, but she doesn't say that she did. Could you see? Let me just go back just a tad so you can see. Look down and you'll see the creek. See the creek right down in there? That's a long ways for Jody Sue to go down. I just don't see it being true. That driveway, that first driveway to the left, goes up to their house. Oh, no, sorry, not that driveway.
If I have to be brought in. So, also, it's a good way to check, even though, yeah, but with your feet on what's in the bottom and deepest spots.
Make this make sense.
Now, before we move on to this, there's another video of Jody Sue Brown telling us that there's meth needles all throughout that creek. But yet she felt it so important to get into that creek barefooted. It just doesn't make sense, folks.
She doesn't know Summer is missing, but she's already looking for a body in the bottom of the creek.
At that point, when she gets into the creek, as this woman just said, all she heard is them calling for Summer. They could have been calling Summer in from playing on her swing to come inside to go eat or something, but she instantly is hyper alert and goes to look in the creek for Summer. She starts going into the creek looking before she knew or anyone had told her that Summer was missing. How did she know? Is the question. How did she know?
Same time, I keep it on the bank, going around Kansas, and to the top of the hill. Before I had stepped into the creek, I could hear the boys go down the left side of their property towards the creek on that side that I had looked down towards earlier. And there was a point there when, I could tell that Candace and the boys had met up when they were hollering for Summer and circling the hill. So anyway, I'm stepping into the creek. I was, not too far in. So anyway, as I was looking, went a few feet, in to the water, but, 20 feet maybe further, I don't know, maybe less than that, I don't know. Wasn't too far in when I hear a car coming down Candace's driveway. And her talking to somebody, which I assume was somebody in the car with her. But as I hear her getting closer, I come back up the creek and jump up.
Now, mind you, she's going through cancer treatment, and earlier that day, she had to have her son help her walk outside and walk the property lines, she told us. But she just jumped out of that creek. I'm telling you, this is how Summer got lost in her own story.
Into the roadway, and she's in Grandis's vehicle, and which, kind of confused me at first.
She's letting us know right here that she had yet to speak with Candace whatsoever.
Mine, Grandis's was ahead of it, so that's why she's in Grandis's. And so anyway, when she pulls up, she's on the phone with Donnie. But the first thing I said, guys, I wish I could explain to you. I wish there had been some way for me to take a picture or video that day. Donnie's on the phone with her, and I didn't even realize I just didn't hear me. But the first thing I said to Candace is I heard her scream, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And then I realized Donnie's on the phone.
She didn't know. But no one's told her yet that Summer's missing. She has not been told yet that Summer was missing.
And Donnie says something like, so you're telling me somebody's taking my baby girl or something? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I didn't put it together, enough time, right? I was like, because the first thing she says to me is we're talking together, basically, which is, I'm saying I'm sorry, and she's like, Summer's missing.
All righty, there we go. We're going to stop that. All right, I think we've had enough of all that today. Folks, She hurts my head too. She so does. And hello, Miss Retha. Good to have you. Thank you for being here. Little Summer Wells was only 5 years old when she went missing from her home off the top of her hill, a hill that we saw a while ago had no leaves on it at the time that person drove through there. But the day she went missing, those trees were full. You couldn't hardly see her home. No stranger would ever go up that driveway just to see if there might be a little girl to take. Once again, common sense has been thrown out the window when it comes to her case and law enforcement, because nothing has happened. She was lost instantly. And the person who lived there, who knew the area that we all turned and started listening to, was what we just listened to. Stories that did not make sense. Things that she said were sometimes in riddles. And the riddles all indicated that she knows something and she's trying to protect someone and someone's little partner. It's also sad because here we are in 2025 and little Summer's still missing. Yeah, Sandy, they were. It's just all so aggravating to sit here and talk about these kids' cases when you have people that absolutely, without a doubt, are doing their very, very, very best to distract and cause distractions, to have things overlooked, and to have things just pushed away, pushed to the side. And it's not fair for these kids. Not fair at all. And I wanted to always continue to talk about Summer Wells. Of course, there's nothing really new happening. And there's not a whole lot left to say that hasn't already been said, but I encourage any of you who listen to anything pertaining to Summer Wells' case to keep in mind that just like Sebastian's case, there are the divide in the street and those who claim to know more than others and all the things. It's no different. Hey, Pink Warrior, look at her. Go Rangers. Girl, my Astros are winning right now. I love it. But Summer deserves her justice, just as all of those who are missing. And it is so very sad when children go missing and at no way, no time was it their doing. And it's so very obvious that others are involved. So, guys, with that being said, I'm going to let y'all get out of here. I'm sorry I came on so late, but I got busy and time got away from me. But I appreciate y'all being here and listening to Summer's story. And I'm going to do my best to continue with her story. And Oh, good. Kylie, good deal. Yes, that is amazing to hear. So we need to keep up with Kylie. Kylie, do you have a channel? Do you have a channel, Kylie? Or are you just working? Okay, she's going to email me. Good deal. Good deal. Okay, TJ, we need to drop her channel link too. I didn't realize you had a channel. I'm sorry. I'll go subscribe to you. Y'all subscribe to Kylie's Nail Candy. Yay. There we go. Everybody go sub up to her channel. Good deal. Okay. So everybody have a super great night. I'll be back tomorrow. I may during the week do some late night lives, and we'll do like some current event stuff on the things happening in the world out there. And so y'all keep a check out on my channel. I did put out a short video. Go watch it. It's very interesting. Seems that someone is now a sponsor for PigFest after so much pressure being put on them, and showed they were not a sponsor, but yet they had so much say so. I think it's quite funny. The pressure was on. So, anyways, y'all have a super great night. And until tomorrow, love and hugs, everybody. See you soon. Bye.